me waving?
We are live, yes. Yes,
They see me waving?
Yeah.
Welcome to the SHSU English MA Program General Student Meeting, Spring 2019.
On January 30th at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right, so I have one pressing thing that we need to talk about, and that is student activities. What activities do you want to have this spring? And the reason I'm asking is because I don't want to schedule activities, put up posters, and hope you come. I'd rather have you participate more in what kind of events you would like to have, what time you would like those events to be at, how much advance notice you need in order to be able to attend such events. And I'm thinking of things like lectures, movie showings, brown bag lunches. You don't have to bring a brown bag. You know what a brown bag lunch is? It's like essentially you say, at 12 o'clock, everyone will meet in this room to talk about one of the books on one of the 10 books, and we'll all provide our own lunch. Does that make sense?
So like a study, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Organized study.
BYOB. Bring your brown bag.
BYOBB.
I can ask professors, but also you can ask professors, hey, we're going to be talking about this book at this luncheon. Would you like to join us? Does that kind of make sense? Instead of making posters and have nobody show up, I'd rather have it be a little more student. Does that make sense? Not all of this has to do with the 10 books, too. If there's other kinds of things you'd like us to offer, I'm happy to put them together. So I'm thinking of things like, how about a workshop on CDs? Yeah. I'd love to do that. I'd love to offer that for you. But again, I want to do it when I get a commitment from enough students to make it worth it. Applying to PhD programs, we could have talk about that at some point. Teacher advisory board. The MA program has a 15-person special alumni board of people working in area high schools and junior colleges. So if you're thinking of that in the future, I can touch with that. So there's all sorts of different things we can do, but I just want to get some input from you today about things that you'd like to see, that you feel like. Matt.
Do you want me to throw a suggestion out there?
What do you always interested in?
I mean, I wish that I had gone to the Lord of the Rings showing, but I didn't. Maybe we do something else with that. Maybe we show the color purple and then have a conversation. If we could follow that format, show the movie, talk about the book, talk about the differences. I don't know if that applies to a lot of other books that we're reading on the 10-book list, but that could be something interesting that we do just in general to kind of discuss a movie adaptation and what gets dropped and what gets added. You know, and maybe talk about the narrative differences between the two and how true does it feel to the content of the story.
If we show films, what times of day are good?
Evening.
Generally.
Evening?
Except for Monday and Wednesday.
Except for Monday and Wednesday.
Because of classes. But I'm assuming you guys don't really want to have intellectual discussions Friday.
I mean, that sounds great to me, but
The only time I was free, yeah.
I'm happy to do it
Yeah.
on Friday night.
Friday
I'll
night?
waste my Friday night if I don't.
I'll just get off.
Because do we offer Friday night classes? We don't, right?
No.
So that might be the safest option because some of us have Monday, Wednesday, some of us have Monday, Tuesday, some of us have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some of us have Thursday, Monday, Thursday, et cetera, et cetera. So Friday might be the safest bet to get.
How important is faculty involvement?
Depends on what it is that you need them for.
If like if
Just this one
if-
thing.
Like if we're talking about doing a Friday night film series.
Oh, okay.
unless they have a specialty, stuff like we were talking about pirates earlier. If somebody has a specialty in that, we watch some pirate movie. I'd want them there to have like a deeper understanding of it, but otherwise,
Or to at least guide the discussion
Yeah.
in a constructive way.
but otherwise, it doesn't seem like
I think it's always good to have that faculty interaction. I really enjoy the moments where I can have kind of out of classroom conversations with faculty, just because you can get to know them so much better. And You can talk about things that are of interest to you that you know they specialize in that might not pertain to the film or the classroom. But
What are the best kind of events to interact?
Not classes.
yeah,
Like on the one hand, it's great for interacting with like the exact topic, but anything else, you just feel like more freer to talk on an even level. So honestly, like anything, pretty good. Like I want to talk to Blevins really badly about the Sublime because he mentioned it in class, but I couldn't during class because we were moving so fast. So like any non-strict time slot is really good for that interaction.
Did we have like lunch thing or something last semester? And
Last
that's very
semester was
real.
a blur.
Yeah, last semester. There was like, we met in here, we were talking about something. A lot of the professors, a lot of the faculty, and a lot of the students were walking in and out.
Luncheons would be great.
I was gonna say like a luncheon or a coffee mixer kind of.
Yeah, or we could just sit and talk, whether we want to talk on a specific level or have a guided conversation about something.
Yeah. I mean, that could be MA, MFA, that could be bachelor's. I think all
Could be
levels
every level.
could have something to gain from that. Even maybe like pool faculty, if someone's, but thinking about doing 1301, 1302, then maybe some of those.
What would get you to come?
Being at a time that I am
Yeah,
awake
time.
and alive and not already in class.
Yeah.
Popcorn machine.
Free food will almost certainly do it. Yeah.
Popcorn machine.
I like
Can't watch a movie without food.
Wheel in an
I
entire
was gonna
popcorn
say
machine.
margaritas.
I definitely agree with that. I know, yeah.
Popcorn machine.
Go to the tavern first.
I looked into a popcorn machine.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and there was some problems with it, like they stink.
Snow cones. You know, I took a film literature class as an undergrad, and he is retired.
Yep.
He did. He brought in his popcorn machine, and we had popcorn during class.
I wonder if you had it with peas.
I was in your
Yeah.
I had it with peas. I don't.
Why didn't you have a popcorn machine during the film and lit class
As an yeah.
as an undergrad?
9 o'clock in the morning.
It's never too early or too
So
late.
weird.
So what? Everybody
Exactly.
needs fiber at all times. I'm just saying, there's no bad time for pop.
I agree.
There's no bad time.
Except right before we go to the dentist.
They'll brush your teeth.
They will clean your teeth for you. If
And
you
they'll
don't,
judge you for
mind,
that.
if you don't mind the judgment.
Because the other
Well,
alternative,
you're paying them,
that's
so
they have to offer their events. Wow, I have popcorn a week and a half. How is that? Yeah, at least you can be like, well, I had it for breakfast.
Maybe slightly early.
Because if we start a film at 6 and it ends at 8:30,
I would say somewhere between
Maybe
3,
start
4.
around 3 o'clock.
Or hold it in 2 parts.
Oh, that's
Good
But then we'll
idea.
forget. some of it.
No, you have your first half of the movie, and then you have your discussion or whatever, and then you have the second half.
That's not a bad idea.
But then a lot of the discussion would be colored by, well, I don't know if it's gonna keep going like this, but at this point,
Not really.
Well, that's where it'd
I
be good to have
wouldn't
a
think so.
faculty member.
Exactly, to guide that discussion, like, oh my God, cliffhanger, what's gonna happen next? This is a good time to stop. Let's just discuss this section, because you can't digest a 3 hours or a 2.5 hour movie in a half an hour to actually get into the discussion. So holding it over apart, series, might actually be good to say, and for the people that, don't care about the first part or have seen it before, they can come to the second part and just be like, I want to really get into this. They can pick and choose what parts to go to.
I would have trouble with that.
And
Oh,
popcorn.
I know I would have trouble with that personally because I would just have trouble remembering. I'm too busy to actually hold all that information in my head for a whole week.
Yeah.
But if that's how it has to be done, then like I would still love to go to them. Like that's just my personal opinion.
so Friday night half movie with popcorn with a faculty moderator for a led discussion afterwards.
Now, how far in advance do you guys need to know about these things to be able to adjust your schedule to it?
Depends on the movie.
I don't need any. Like I mean, some would be nice, but I don't have anything on Fridays usually anyway. And if it's gonna be at 3 or 4,
Yeah,
Or
if it's
later.
at 3 or 4, I'll be.
I should be free.
I mean, I know some
most have
people.
Fridays.
I know some people work in our program, so of course they won't be able to make it on a Friday anyways because it's 4 or 5. But I don't know.
I think most students try and keep Friday free.
I mean, 3, if you show half a movie, that's gonna be, and 4, then you'd have the discussion. 5.
So if we do half a movie, we might be able to start a little bit later,
Yeah.
potentially.
Right.
Not too late.
So it's not like it's gonna be at 4.
What about this faculty mixer coffee hour, coffee mixer faculty chatty?
Before 6.
Like a kind of
With coffee
David,
and coffee cake.
David Gaines? And that, the cool faculty who's just like always got his door.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's always got candy, so does coffee.
Like what about in here if I asked like 6 or 7 faculty to come in and we provided snacks?
I mean, if they
Every
show
day
up,
at 5 o'clock.
Just in time before class.
In time for before class. Yes.
we would get a lot of people showing up.
Wouldn't you only get the ones in that particular class?
No, I mean, if it's in here and it's at like, I don't know, it depends, 4 to 5 to 6, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and you
get
have
people who are just about to leave, you would get people who are just about to come in, and it would just rotate for the couple hours.
and you also have like there's like 2 or 3 classes running all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, maybe 2 classes every day.
So you'd have
You would
different-
have different people, different, you know, oh, I'm with the Thursday, you know, that kind of thing.
So do it before evening classes for grads.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially if there's food.
Yes.
Because a lot of us get here at like 5 and,
Yeah.
you know, wait.
And we're hungry.
Yeah, we're hungry.
And we don't have enough time to, it's either that time to get into class part or get something to eat and be late in part or not come to class at all. So the 3 decisions I deal with every day.
Are the MFA classes mostly scheduled at night too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not everything.
I think there's 1 or 2
I had a
classes
2
that are
o'clock
early.
class.
Yeah.
So you could have an early supper.
No, it would be great. It would be between my 2 o'clock
See,
class and my
between
6 o'clock
class,
class.
It would be between class on Tuesday.
Something like that, you get people leaving back, you get a nice
Yeah.
rotation.
How helpful are lectures? Daytime lectures.
How what?
Daytime lectures.
What about?
It would depend on what they are held.
I missed that word.
Like tomorrow at 11 a.m. I think it's at.
Yeah.
Blevins has brought in a scholar who's going to talk on Zizek and race.
Right, doing it earlier.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, see, I work
can't
during
do
the day
during the
until
day.
3, so I usually can't do early. I was able to come to, it was like, I think a Friday at 3 or something, and Dr. Donahue gave a presentation.
That's
That
Friday.
was really awesome, yeah. So I got to come to that. I would love to come to more of those, but like right smack on the day, it just doesn't be because I work every Monday through Friday.
Because I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that almost every, like when we
Mhm.
scheduled this meeting, it's not.
Yeah.
No, you said the daytime schedule.
It was all over
Yeah.
the board.
It was
Yeah.
so all over the board. I mean, this was these were like the most common time periods, and there was like 10 people out of the 20 people that responded. Like, hard to get everyone to.
Okay. Anything else? Any other kind of event? Do you guys want a field trip?
Depends
Zoo?
on where to.
Do you want like a weekend at a camp? Like, do they call it team building? Or you fall backwards and people catch you?
No, I'm against team building. This is mine is an individual sport.
Love it.
I will
If we
do.
could find a museum or something in Houston to go to that would somehow fit into something, I would love to go.
Like there was
Yeah.
that exhibit that was just there, the tutor, the English art, like the tutor to the, I don't know. I didn't go, but I heard about it.
And I
We
was
need
more
our
interested in going if it was something that you
Could
get like,
pertain to all what we.
pertains to what we're talking to, and also is that like a
I've heard
group break,
that.
you know? So.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would need a lot
Either
more.
free or
Is
cheap.
there any way we could create a forum that you could all participate in making
Yeah.
announcements?
Yeah.
And making suggestions?
Sure. Like Slack.
I mean,
That's a
we have
chat,
the
right,
Blackboard
not a
group for
forum.
it,
That's
so we could
true.
create a discussion board for it there.
But the Blackboard group, don't you have to like log into it?
Yeah, you would have to log into Blackboard, but
You have to
Like,
log
that
into
sounds like
almost
something
anything.
that might,
into everything.
everything.
like, that might work for like,
And it's awful in fall too.
Yeah,
Blackboard is
that
impossible.
sucks.
Like, what about doing a Facebook page?
Not on Facebook.
What about like a Google Classroom?
Group me in.
Google
Yeah,
Classroom?
Groupie would be just
Or Google Hangout or.
at your fingertips, not exactly a forum.
I always think that sounds
Maybe.
dirty. Group- yeah.
Yeah. That's like it's like it's like messages, right? We use like a bunch of
Yes.
messages. My concern is
And people don't actually have access to your phone number. too.
right. I think I've used it before.
Oh,
That might. It's not a
yeah.
bad idea.
Yeah.
It depends on what format you want though. Like if you're okay with messages, like chat messages or text messages, that's one thing. If you want an actual forum or like email format, that would have to be something else.
I would rather it be something that you log into and look at than it be pinging. You know?
Yes.
I kind of agree
Yes,
with that.
yeah.
So maybe we should
text
stay
is
with the
awful.
email, this. Yeah. I guess that's the easiest way.
Everyone knows my emails come across as Mackenzie Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Fine.
I know I sent you guys quite a few. If you guys ever have questions, please let me know.
What about mentoring?
I don't have time for
What?
it.
That's totally valid.
For what?
Like in what way, shape?
Like, yeah.
In any shape, way, or form, like leading a student undergraduate club. Like a,
Maybe.
even just sitting and chatting with undergrads about what it means to be a graduate student.
Is it?
Maybe a panel rather than a mentorship.
Yeah.
There was like some sort of group that was like a white
Guys.
you know, where they could come to and ask questions. That, you know, that would be something that most of us could probably, you know, handle, you know, but the ongoing thing, I think, at least speaking for myself, a lot of jobs.
Right, but what about say like one evening where we had an open house for the MA
So sort of
program?
like a lecture from us instead of.
So I could say if all interested majors in English, would you like to come and meet some MA students? Graduate school?
Well, yeah.
I think that's cool.
That'd be good.
Something that was
I wish I had that
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there'd be specific.
Yeah.
something like that that's more relaxed and informal rather than
With
like
popcorn.
leading an undergraduate club.
Coffee.
I'm not trying to do
Catered.
that.
Because you know, every semester I do these things over in the LSC ballroom where I sit at a table and I have a big sign that says English, and I sit next to criminal justice and all the other graduate programs. And I talk to 3 people in about 6 hours.
And most of
And I
them
don't
speak
think I've ever
English. Oh, I'm not good
recruited
at that.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a very productive way, but if we did it in-house and sent out word that we're having an in-house with an actual real MA students.
Real live.
Live, MA
Live and
students.
in person.
English, or behind cages to keep you safe.
No, as long as we have stress level.
Yes.
Driven us crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm at 100% right now.
We are snakes.
I think that's really
Okay. We are going to run the Friday Faculty Forum series again. So every Friday, the Friday Faculty Forum is the first Friday of every month.
Have you been reading Dr. Seuss?
Congratulations.
I've been
That
talking
was
too much
super
today
cool.
about too many
First.
weird things.
You made it through that very well.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
In my class this morning, that's what it means, oral sex?
I can vouch for that. Actual conversation in classes. Not
Was it
comfortable.
mythology?
No, it's
Freshman
comp
year.
two.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
At least
Friday of the month.
So
Does that mean-
you guys should just know this, and I guess no one's probably explaining. First Friday of every month, always have a faculty forum.
What is a faculty forum?
And a faculty forum is like the Bob Donahue talk. It's a talk by a faculty member on their research. Occasionally, we have 2 MA students give 2 short talks, but more typically the format is about a 30 to 45-minute talk by a faculty member. Usually it was just published, right? Or had some kind of big achievement. Published art. It's a volunteer basis for faculty. So this is
What time is it usually?
it's usually at 4,
3 or 4.
3 or
Yeah.
4, something like that. Sometimes it's at
Maybe
3:30.
Yeah, sometimes
Where?
it's 3, sometimes.
It's here.
Oh, in this
212.
room.
In here.
Do we have the list of those for this semester?
Contact Paul Child. Okay. And ask him for the information, because this is just for scheduling purposes. Get these dates out. I really want you all to come to as many of those as you possibly can.
Yeah, if you know the dates kind of ahead of time, that would be great, like to send to us, because like normally I would get these and it'd be like a couple days before, and it was too late for me to change my schedule. But yeah, I would come to more if it was more in advance.
And you
Yeah,
should
like maybe
know
like
that
2 weeks.
I was gonna
Or
say like a
Yeah.
week, 2 weeks.
sometimes they
Two
wait
weeks,
because they
2
wait for the posters to be. So you may not know what you're coming to, but we should have every Friday, first Friday. But we'll double check the times.
I mean, you could always clear up the spot, and then if it's not something you're interested in, you should- but it's only 1 week.
I would have to ask off work, so.
Right.
And then not to know what you're coming to.
Yeah.
Yay, it's faculty potluck.
They range widely in their topics, but Peyton did one on pirates. At one point. Everyone sort of says. The other ones that they're gonna be scheduled at different times are thesis defenses and/or comprehensive final research presentations. Right, we've changed the structure of our exams, but all students need to either defend a thesis or at the end of the program present a major research.
Would we be able to attend those, even if
Not
we're
only
not-
I'm encouraging you to, right? I think you would be crazy to go up for your thesis defense never having attended another thesis defense, right? A thesis defense is usually when, I mean, the way they're typically run is that the student sits down with their committee, their director, 2 readers, and the director moderates a series of questions from the readers and the director to the student, with the audience remaining quiet. They're really there just for publicity. At the end of the question period, which goes on for about an hour, right? Maybe a little more, like 45 minutes. Then they sometimes invite the audience to ask questions if there's has. It's an amazing experience, because I'll tell you, if I try to tell people about my research, they stop paying attention in about 5 minutes. The experience of having worked for a year on a project and then have 3 readers who read your book very carefully, ask you questions, and be totally engaged is really exhilarating. I always tell people, try to enjoy it, because you're just showing off what you've done.
Yeah.
And the questioners want you to do well, want you to answer questions. So they're not trying to get you or something. You haven't read 15th century Spanish poetry that's so relevant to your project? Right? That's not the kind of questions to ask. But having a sense of the kinds of questions and how the thing flows, it's good to go to. The research presentations, they're going to be more like mock conference presentations, where the student stands up and delivers about a 15 to 20 minute presentation. And we'll try to stack at least 2 at one go, so that you'll hear one presentation, you hear a second presentation, as if you're watching. And then everybody participates in the question period. And that's for the non-thesis track. Thumbs up for the non-thesis track. We already had 2 last fall.
Yeah,
Right?
they were really good.
And they were both excellent.
Yeah.
Jenny Say and
Lindsay
Lindsay Gray. I like them both. We'll talk about that. I'll tell you after the game is off. But those, it's also kind of an intense experience, and it's a perfect experience if you plan to go to conference, right? And we can talk about doing it early if you have a conference coming up. You might just present that paper as a sort of practice session before you actually, right? So that it's meaningful exercise. Go to as many of these as you possibly can, right? It's also nice because if you go to somebody else's, they might come to yours and support. Friendly and deflect bad questions. Good. Are there any other questions? I have some ideas here I'm going to pursue with Dr. Blevins. A Friday night half film series with moderated discussion on films related to the list of 10 books for now. Before evening classes, socials with snacks.
Ice cream.
And
I would too.
Coffee.
Maybe
Put
mix
coffee in
together
it.
ice cream.
Mini
Ooh,
coffee
coffee
ice
ice
cream
cream.
topping.
Coffee split.
Coffee ice cream is
and then getting out the Friday faculty forum stuff. We will try to run an event where we have an open house for the MA program. Look at that. And then you guys were also interested in an evening workshop on designing CVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. And that's what we'll try to do. Perfect. That's all I really needed from you, but I want to know what other questions you have.
So you changed the prompts. I wasn't far enough along to do the old version of prompts, but I'm still too far along to do the new version. How long? When do I? So you had that middle one where I have to change the people with answer.
Yes.
How long do I start that? 'Cause I have to.
Are you writing a thesis?
I am.
After you submit the thesis, where you graduate,
Okay.
is the perfect window in which to transform one of your thesis chapters.
So it has to be the thesis chapters.
It doesn't, but that's when you'll be done with that project, so you might as well finish that project.
Okay,
And
but I'm
then-
the last pre-event, so my thesis is graded.
So you may be looking for a magazine reads section.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And the process there is still the same. You're going to be identifying a possible publication venue and then assessing what you need to do to transform your submission into something that's published.
Okay, along those lines, I
Yes.
think I'm in the same.
You're in the
boat.
same boat.
So I presented at a conference, and they are, asking us to give our papers to publish. So I mean, if I did that, because this paper doesn't have a.
That's fine.
But that
you
would be
could-
okay. It
you could
doesn't
use
necessarily
that very
have
much
to.
so.
So if I do that instead, then that might save us.
Yeah, what you would do there is you would approach a professor, probably who you wrote the paper for,
Yes.
say they are going to publish this.
Okay.
Can you look it over with me and can we have a discussion about what I need to do to prepare it?
Okay.
Then you write up a little cover letter to us saying this is the things I did to model.
Okay.
And then you give us the version. And
Okay.
we'll give it to 3 readers who.
Okay.
But if you've already got accepted for publication, you should be pretty confident about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
But if it's publishing in a journal, it's always a good idea to look at what else that journal has published
Yeah.
and incorporate a couple more sources in that journal,
Yeah.
right? So it sounds like it's in conversation. And then you have to look at what are their length requirements. Talk about that as well. The idea here is that this comprehensive exam is supposed to be more focused on professionalizing, right? So that you understand when you read Sam Houston, how does one go about transforming, make it available.
Will the questions on the exam be open-ended enough that we'll be able to apply literary criticism and theory, like what we're talking about, Dr. Wood?
Hopefully, absolutely. I'll give you the mock question that I've been sharing with everybody is that Shakespeare's Othello is preoccupied with notions of race in a particular way with its lead character. Talk about Othello and 4 other texts and how they handle questions of race. Does that make sense? That should enable you to speak about, so we're going to identify one text that you must speak about, and then the 4 others will be your choice. And it'll be a kind of a ranging question so that you can synthesize it. Absolutely, you should. The other thing I would emphasize is that you should know the text. You should know a little bit about the historical background of where that text was produced, right? A little bit of historical text. You don't have to know it exhaustively. You should. And then about three critical articles that are current or very significant. Right, and I would do that for all 10. Obviously, the exception of history of language, you don't need to know the text. You don't need to know the historical context from which it came. You need to have 3 critical essays on it. Pretty much everything else, I think. You want to know what scholars are saying about the book. You want to know a little bit about the context. And to that end, I would highly recommend things like the Norton Critical Edition, because it comes with relevant articles in the back, right? Those are always just an easy way to get a sense that introductions usually give you plenty of historical context. So if you were talking about Shakespeare's Othello, you could talk a little bit about Elizabethan England, you could talk about the play, and then you could talk about what critics say today about race. Cool. You'll get a choice of 2 questions, right? So you'll get stuck talking, and both questions will ask you to speak about one specific book, but it's not the same. We also have a video, check us out on YouTube, where we had a long discussion about the exam. If you haven't gotten that, we can get you. I'm sure it's tedious. We sort of went through how to prepare. That's only for students who started last summer or last fall. All others are in a different interim stage.
And anyone that's starting, what about anyone that's starting this semester, like in spring? This is their first semester.
They will take the exam not this May, but the fall. It seems premature because some of them, there are 3 of them, and I think 2 of them are only taking 2 courses, so it would be too early to assess them.
Yeah.
Graduate studies. Have you met them? 2 of them worked on the Houstonian as editors. Awesome. Ethan and TJ.
Yeah, they're both in our Monday night class.
Okay, well, that's
There's a
I
lot
don't
of people.
realize it.
Yes, exactly. Out of the 15-person class that we have.
Ginger, you said you had some other questions for me?
Well, sure.
Question 1, subsection 7, if I recall.
Question 1, Article 8, subsec 3. Okay, so let's just discuss this mock conference weirdness, because for the people that are caught in between. Okay,
Sure.
so Nissa and I,
Yes.
so I'm gonna speak for, we're tandem here. We were accepted to a conference in February.
Congratulations.
So you want us to have our mock conference before the conference?
When in February?
21st to the 23rd.
Yeah, why don't we do it 2 weeks from
Why did you say that?
No, what I'm saying, no, because if we have to have the mock conference, then we can just get it over with, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
We just do our mock conference.
I mean,
and
think
then
about
go to
how
the
cool would it be for
conference.
the 2 of you to present right before you go to the conference to all of us, who can then say, this was, you don't have to do it now.
No,
But I mean,
what
if
I'm
you're
saying,
preparing this and you're getting all the materials ready, why not do a dry run with us first and get faculty input, student back?
but is that a graduating requirement? That's it? We don't have to do anything else?
I'm in the
for
same
that?
boat as June.
Because I'm a little bit confused on if we have to actually submit for publication.
No, you do still have the written component, which is to take some final paper that you've written or a thesis chapter and work with a professor to transform it into a publishable.
Okay, so if we're not on the thesis track.
If you're not on the thesis track, then you're going to take just one of your seminar papers, go to a professor, try to figure out what your best one is.
Okay.
And go to your professor and say, hey, look, I have this comprehensive final exam project, which involves me transforming this into a publishable article. Will you work with me? Does that make sense?
Okay, and then then the mock conference comes?
You can do one or the other.
Okay, so.
Does that make sense?
No,
I mean,
it
you
does
can do
not
one
at all.
first, one first. The
It
order
does not at
doesn't
all.
matter. The order doesn't matter,
But you do both.
but you do both.
Okay, so.
You have
It's
to have
the
it.
same paper, not different papers.
It can be different papers. It doesn't have to be.
Wait
the
a
same
minute,
paper.
all
But
right.
it can be the
I'm-
same.
But it
I'm-
can be the same.
Really confused now
Right.
of what I need to do to graduate.
Okay, so the comprehensive exams for you are two. There's an oral component,
Mm-hmm.
which is a presentation, and there's a
Right.
written component, which is preparing something for publication,
Okay,
right? They can be the same in the sense that if you have a great paper that's been accepted at a conference,
right.
you could then say, okay, I'm going to go present it at the conference, and then I'm going to work that article up in.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
But then after that, it doesn't necessarily have to be published.
No, you just have to show us that you understand
The
how
process.
the process of transforming what you've written in a seminar into something that might interest a journal.
And then who signs off on
Yeah,
that?
who
I mean,
signs
like,
off on
is
that?
there like,
The professor who works with you to help you develop it into a publishing article,
What if they already have too many people that want to work with them?
and two other readers. Right?
Well, I mean,
If they turn you down, then you got to find somebody else. But talk to me first before that happens.
okay.
I mean, most of the faculty are on board with this, and I have to tell you, we get pay raises based on your student success, right? So
They have a vested interest.
we have an invested interest in seeing
Okay.
you all publish because it looks good on us.
so then after we get those things transformed, then we have to find 3 people to read it.
Usually you'll do that at the beginning before you start transforming. Like when you find the director, talk to them and say, who else might do this? They'll help you. Make sense?
Okay, and then they would give the inputs and then you rewrite?
You'll work with them. Yeah, right.
Okay.
You'll work with them. And then essentially think about it this way. What's your paper? Satan paper. So you're going to go and look for all the Satan journals. You're going to look for journals that would publish on the authors that you address in that thing. And the first place I would look is your bibliography, right? Because where you cited sources,
Sure.
those are people publishing in the journals that are talking about these kinds of issues. Does that make sense? But that's all the better, right? You look those journals up. You make,
They're
you,
so
you
obscure.
make sure that those journals are still publishing. And I can show you some stuff.
I have no idea.
There's an ML, you know the MLA database? There's a
Mhm.
second one, which is MLA database of periodicals. You can look there and it will tell you all sorts of things about that journal.
Okay.
Usually they'll have a link to the journal's homepage. And then you can go there and there'll be a section that says 4 authors or 4 contributors.
Okay.
You pull those up, you print them up, you bring them into the professor. You say, this is what I have, this is paper, this is the instructions for authors, what other things like. This is going to differ and the journals are.
So let's just say that I go to this conference and I present my paper without having to do the mock conference, and then I come back and do the mock conference, then the rewrite, whatever. Is that?
That's
is
fine.
that-
We're not particular about the order. We just want you to have both a written and an exam component.
Okay, and how long is the paper?
That depends on the journal,
Oh, okay.
right? The journal will say,
That's-
we
okay.
accept only up to 4,000 word papers, or they might say, we accept 6,000 to 8,000, right? But that's defined by the journal.
Okay, then I have a question that kind of goes with that, and that is, are there specific times that you have to have it presented by, or like, I
Yeah,
only have one more class after this semester in the summer. Like, where does that leave people like me? I have to wait then to do the mock conference until,
No,
after
you can
that
do,
session, or can
you can do it
in the
anytime
summer,
after
or-
18 hours.
But we have to pick our advisor or our readers before we do the mock conference, correct?
Yes, because they will be evaluating you on your mock conference. No, wait a second.
I was writing it
I
down.
know.
Oh my God, you're giving me
I
instructions.
want to
I
be
need
really
to-
clear here, because this is going back. If your paper that you're working up is the one you want to do your presentation on,
Uh-huh.
then it makes sense to have the readers and the director who are overseeing the written component also evaluate oral, right? But let's say you want to do the mock conference presentation before you go to your conference.
Uh-huh.
We'll find you 3 people to evaluate. If you come back from that conference and say, I never want to touch that paper again, I want to work up a different paper.
Oh, no, we're on this paper because I can't, no.
But do you see what I'm saying? Then
Right, I got
you
it.
wouldn't have to use those same 3. You can switch that. Does that make sense?
Okay, so but what you're telling me is that I have to approach faculty to say, hey, I want to do this paper. This is a paper that I wrote in your class, and I need you to help me on for my comps.
Yes. I would say that the 2 of you should both go to Dr. Murphy
Yes.
and say, we both got accepted to this conference, which she
We-
already
we-
knows.
She knows.
Would you be the director for our mock conference presentations, our oral examination in a couple of weeks? Right? And then we'll make posters, we'll advertise it to campus. You'll come in here and the 2 of you will deliver 2 20-minute talks.
We go back to approach faculty to mock
Just go to talk to Dr. Murphin, and Dr. Murphin then will make suggestions. Well, who are 2 other faculty members we could pull in to evaluate presentations? And that's such a small commitment because all those people have to do is come to the talk and fill out a sheet with bubbles on
Right.
it. Right? It's
So
just
then,
a rubric.
and then those same 3 will get my paper. and
If you
that-
want them to be the same
and-
3, they can be the same 3, and then then Dr. Murphin will talk to you about what you need to do to transform your seminar paper into more of an article form.
Okay.
And she's going
Okay.
to say, I need you to pick out the journal that you want to aim for. And then we can talk about what their expectations are, but also some other things like incorporating, so making sure sources from that.
Okay.
Framing your paper so it seems to be a response to topics that have been in the journal. So also looking to see if the journal is offering special issues. Right? There may be a special issue coming up that the call for papers out.
Okay. So email Dr.
I think these things are always nicer to go in person, but you
Sure,
can
sure.
do-
Well, yeah, okay, all right.
You can email to say, is there a time I can meet in person to talk?
Okay. Okay. And then segue into subsection 7
Yes.
on the same topic. Conference money.
So conference money, the first place you need to go to is the graduate school, which is the new name of what used to be called the Office of Graduate Studies.
Right, and I downloaded the form, I filled out the form, and it says that it's recommended to have, recommendations for, hey, they send them to the conference. To
Yes.
validate you
Yes.
as a
Yes.
scholar. But then when
And
another
in this
one of,
case, the person you should ask for that,
okay,
because Dr. Murphy knows the paper,
correct.
right? And she can say,
Correct. Okay. The other thing is that I was told by another one of our cohorts who is going to the same conference that they went up to the English department to.
no, he's got an F,
Why?
MFA.
I understand.
He's not one of your cohorts.
In the conference,
Oh, okay.
the conference.
The
cohort.
conference program.
You stopped my heart. I'm like, you got an F?
No.
That's a hard one. That's harsh. But
I
he
keep
said
telling you
that
to get the F out.
he told me he was like, well, we have to submit it 2 weeks before we go to the conference, the for the funding.
Uh-huh.
But then the person in the English department said that they had to fill out a whole different form for Spur. And I have no idea. And I looked it up, and it looks like the same form that was the graduate form. So I don't know where this
Right,
is the
so you have to-
conjunction of all of these.
Here's the deal.
Cross
The
section.
graduate school has money to fund graduate studies.
Yes.
If they don't spend that money, they lose that. So the dean of graduate studies says, this is policy, all students have to start with us, and we're gonna try to max out all the travel money we give. And then you can go to the other areas to seek additional. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
right.
So you should submit to the graduate school and then
Okay.
run back to the English department and say, I submitted to the graduate school, I'd like to submit here too. Submit to Spur. Submit to any of the other offices that possibly can help support.
But the lady in the English department wants us to do Spur first before we go to graduate studies. And that just seems odd to me because,
Is that Shanna Hollis?
no, that's Rachel. Yes.
Okay, I will have to double check that.
Because,
Spur before
yeah,
the
but
graduate school or the English department?
before anything. And so then you're telling me that there's three sections. There's the graduate studies, then there's Spur, then there's the English department.
Yeah.
Where do I turn in this damn?
Oh, start with the graduate school. Just go to the graduate school and turn it in.
Okay.
Then tell Rachel that you've turned it in there, go to Spur, submit it there. I mean, the better thing to do is just get the form in everywhere and apologize,
That's very true.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I
So
mean,
just flood this form.
I would, and everywhere, and you can, that way if someone says, have you submitted it already somewhere else, you can be like, yes,
Okay.
right? Because graduate school wants it first, Spur may want it first, but I would just, because they may all be in the same boat, but I would go, I just submitted it.
And then is there a different, because if you're telling me that there's three different places, where's the English department's form?
Rachel. She can give it to you. It's a request for travels form. It's pretty easy. She can just give it to you.
Yeah, that's not. That was a.
And if the more you
But
guys
the one
can
that
show
she sent to
cost
Bradley,
sharing, the more you can show cost sharing, the more you're likely to get more funding. Right? Because if they can pay less to get two people to go to the conference, the better it looks. So share gas to the airport, or some graduate students share rooms. You may not be comfortable doing that. It's fine. But anytime there's like costs that can be combined, it looks better. And ask for as much as you can. Like give total costs, let them tell you what they want.
that's what my estimate was already at the 1,000 per semester or per year, and I've never applied.
No,
So
I mean, you
I'm
wanna-
going
you
for
wanna get
957.
as much as you can.
Yeah, because I even tried. Yeah.
See, because
Okay.
the thing
so-
is that the dean then can go to the president and be like, we used all of our travel funds. But if the dean goes to the president and says, we didn't use all those funds, the president's
Yeah,
gonna
So-
say,
take them away.
they'll take them away.
Yeah.
So submit to the graduate studies,
Yeah, it's
Grad
the
school.
grad school.
graduate
grad
schools.
school.
Okay,
And
first,
then,
and then Spur, and then tell
And then-
Rachel that I did all
yeah,
of these things.
and then send it in and get the travel request as well.
Okay.
Okay, we have 5 minutes until class.
Okay.
And any other pressing things, you can always email me too. This was really productive. I really appreciate you all taking the time to come and talk.
Okay.
Okay.
We got through all of this.
Do you wanna
No, I'm
stop
just
the
very
video?
concerned.
Thank you all
Very
for
good.
attending
Thank you.
virtually.
My paper. I didn't even figure out.
So
I found that my.
you didn't.